So you caught me adjusting my lights. Hi, everybody. This is Elena of the Witch's Box, and I'm here today with another free guided ritual meditation that we're going to be doing today together. We usually do this every Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time. And yeah, and if I'm not here, I try to do a pre recorded meditation for you all to use on Fridays when I'm not around. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But for the most part, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, we do a live guided meditation. So here we are. Um, Hello and welcome. I see Colum kind of peeked in, and I don't know if you're still here and peeked out. Welcome. I'm glad that you decided to say hello. Hi, Emily. Welcome. Um, so today's a big day. I'm going to do a quickie announcement, and then I'm going to talk about what today's meditation is, and then we're gonna get into it. Um, and the announcement is, well, we have two. The big one is that today, probably around 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, the Bookish Witch Retreat page will go live on the website. And what that is that we're doing our very first ever retreat. It's fine. I can't even believe we're talking about this. It is literally finally here. And yeah, the page goes live, registration goes live. You'll see all the information about what we're going to be doing, where we're going to be doing it, when we're going to be doing it, and all those things on that page. I'm going to send out a newsletter today that just explains the whole thing and shares it all with you, and then by next week we'll be posting it throughout social media. So it's happening. It is literally happening. I don't even just saying it out loud. It's like amazing to me. So this is what's happening. That's the big announcement for the day. And then later on today or this weekend, the extra oracle card boxes will go on sale as well. So that's where we're at. And hello, Witch in the Woods. Hello, Aisha, Sean, Chloe. Hi, Chloe. I'm so glad that you're able to be here. Becky and Cullum and Emily have been here. Becky, learning about ancestral connecting is my jam. I love it. I'm smitten with learning all about it. Beautiful, beautiful. It's beautiful work. Wonderful. Hey, so I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm going to say it's Kazsha. Kazsa. Welcome. Hi, hi. Welcome. Oh my goodness. Okay, so today I want to say a couple of things. This is really just an entry point. We have done I'm trying to remember. I think that it was sometime last year, late last year, maybe, that we did a guided meditation around working with the ancestors, or an ancestor, a ancestor. And this is still an entry point, but with some specifics around it. We're going to be doing, every once in a while, you're going to notice that we do the same thing over and over again. Things like going to the Rose Quartz Temple when we work with love. This is a space that we have traveled to before in our guided meditations here on our YouTube channel. And so I will probably end up going back to this space often. And it's the place that we will go to when we do our ancestral work, partly because, again, we've talked about this, when you create a space in the astral realm, the more you go to it to do the work, the more it fortifies that energy and that signature, so that it becomes an actual place that holds its own container, so that you can go to it. You are imbuing it with intention. You're imbuing it over time with power. And when you go to it, it helps set the tone for you. It becomes a tool for you to have to not work so much at getting into the energetic space that you need to do the work that you normally do in that space. When we do this kind of work, when we create temple spaces, it's important to create spaces for very particular work. There are people who do have an astral temple where they do all sorts of different work. They'll do ancestral work, they'll do spell work, they'll do healing work. You can do it that way. But what I found is that when you do a very specific type of energetic work in a very specific designated astral temple or space, it becomes that much more powerful of a container for that very particular work. It doesn't have to hold space for all these different intentions. It just is the thing that you've set aside just for this work. So that when we create a temple just for ancestral work, it becomes easier over time to travel there, and then boom, you're in. You're in the energy, the invitation is there, the opening is there, the connection that you're wanting to make with ancestors becomes easier over time because it's holding a very specific vibration in the astral realm. Yeah. So that's how I work. That's how I'm going to lead you when we do this work. We are always going to go back to this particular space for ancestral work. We're always going to go back to the rose quartz temple for work around love and healing around love and self love and things like that. There are a couple of other temple spaces that I'll walk us through in the future, but for now, these are the two. So you'll notice that we'll go back to these specifically when we're working with love, or specifically when we're working with ancestral work. That these are the two places that we're going to keep coming back to over and over again in order to really establish those spaces for ourselves in the astral realm, so that they become really powerful portals for that work. I'm going to take a pause, take a drink, and look at the comments. Oh, good. So Becky says, I found your old live on ancestral meditation. I loved it so much. It was so helpful. And I saw her, my visiting ancestor, bare feet and bottom of her flowing light blue dress. I was stoked. Oh, beautiful. So then this will be familiar to you, Becky, because we're going to go to the same space in order to connect. And Project Refine Life. Hello. Rochelle says, I totally had to order rose quartz for myself and my daughters after doing that meditation for 2 weeks every day. Beautiful. You did 2 weeks every day. That's amazing. And I've never felt connected with that stone before now. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that you're doing the practices. That's beautiful. Welcome, everybody. Okay, what else do I want to say about this meditation? Some of you have heard me talk about this before, that in my, when you start working in a particular, I guess, field in witchcraft, I don't know that field is the right word, but yeah, energetic field, in a particular path or topic or focus, you kind of sometimes go a little balls to the wall and you just go in all in, and you want to go big, and you like study all the things, you buy all the books, or you do the ritual 80 times a week. And sometimes we can go a little overboard. When I started working with my ancestors, I went a little overboard. I'm really drawn to the work. I feel that as I get older, it becomes more and more important to really cultivate that connection, and healing the ancestral line becomes more and more important, especially this came up. Maybe it came up in our live last Tuesday, but the whole idea around how do I help heal the world? I think that there are very particular avenues to do that don't look like I'm going to cast a spell for the whole planet. Usually when we try the powerful work of trying to heal the world starts with trying to heal yourself. And then by extension, healing your ancestral line, that heals the world. That reverberates out before us, after us, and laterally in really powerful ways. And there is a romantic notion out there, very unrealistic, very pop culture movie notion of, if I do the right spell, then everything will change instantly. And that's not how life works, right? Life works on its own particular rhythm and through energetic reverberations. When we do the work to heal ourselves, and when we do the work to heal our ancestral line, that affects everything and everyone in incremental ways that over time have huge impact. Yeah. So when I first started diving into ancestral work, I was all excited. I'm going to work with my ancestors. And I was also very supported and very inspired by the work of Danielle. I always say Danielle. It's Daniel Foor, Foor. The book is Ancestral Medicine, because he really breaks down how to connect with ancestors and also how to do the healing work with your ancestral line. And he speaks very eloquently about connecting with your well ancestors, as opposed to just this broad blanket invitation like, hey, ancestors, let's all get together. Because the reality is that we have people in our ancestral line who might have been abusers, criminals. A lot of us have ancestors who participated in genocide and colonialism. Like, we don't have, not everyone is amazing. Not everyone is like the life goals for how to be super evolved, right? I mean, this is just the reality of humanity. And these are the ancestors that eventually the healing work will affect most. But when you first make contact, those are not necessarily the people that you want to make contact with, because the idea is to venerate your ancestral line as a whole, yes, but when you do deep work, you want to ally with those who are in a place of wellness, who have surpassed their human dynamic enough to have evolved past that, healed past that, so that they can ally with you in doing the healing work for those who have not. Does that make sense? And so when I dove in, I was like, I want a council of 13 who can come together, and we're going to be a coven of ancestors to do the healing work. I went a little overboard. I asked for 13 and 13 showed up. And so here's what I'm going to say about that. It's powerful work. It's overwhelming work. And if I had to do it over again, I would not choose 13. I was feeling very witchy, very whatever. I was feeling a little immature and probably very unrealistic. And so I say all that to say that today we're going to focus on calling in 3. I have found that it is really powerful to call for the teachers, the guides, the ones that are in the most powerful healed place in your ancestral line to ally with, in order to then get guidance about where does the healing need to start? Where should I enter? How do we do this together? What do I need to learn in this process? And how can I come to you in a way that is also honoring not just of our entire ancestral line, but to myself as well? This is an important part that we don't talk about a lot, but when we honor our ancestral line, we honor ourselves, right? When we love our ancestral line, we love ourselves. When we try to heal our ancestral line, we're healing ourselves. And so having elders, that you can go to, reliable elders who have taken the mantle of being your guide, your leader, your teacher, your healer, can be an incredibly powerful relationship to establish with specific ancestors. And so don't do as Elena did. Don't call in 13, because there is a lot that comes in that way, and it's too much and it's overwhelming, and I don't know how necessary it is. What I do recommend is that if you have 3, we're going to work with calling in 3 specifically in this meditation, in order to, you get different perspectives. Sometimes you have ancestors from very different times and very different cultural contexts that come through with very particular wisdom, and they'll be different, but they'll all kind of weave together to be the whole message that you need. It is an incredibly enriching relationship, and you can stay in that relationship with those 3 for a very, very long time, just doing the work of healing yourself, right? We think that we're healing someone else, but really the healing is here. And that healing also affects the entire ancestral line back and forward into the future, and also laterally. It's very easy. I say this because people get really confused when I say laterally, but it's very easy to think. So for instance, as an example, I am the last, my brother and I are the last people that are descending from my mother and father. Like, we have, neither one of us have had children, neither one of us are going to have children. And so it ends here. But when you think about your ancestral tree, there are so many laterally alive in the world right now. There are countless people who belong to the same ancestral line that I do. So when I do the work to heal the past, and because I technically don't have progeny, I don't have a future, it doesn't, so some people think, well, you don't really have any work to do to heal the future, but I do, because laterally alive today on the planet right now, there are countless other people who belong to my ancestral line, distant relatives and like super, super, super distant relatives and close relatives, right? So think about ancestral work as a very holistic approach in healing, in terms of in time and in place. We're going back and forward and laterally. It's really beautiful. I say all that to say that you can spend an entire lifetime working with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 ancestors in this healing work. Okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to drink water, and I'm going to read this because there's a lot of comments, and then I'm going to take us in. Is there anything else I want to say though? Let me think really quick. There is more I want to say. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to read the comments. Oh, it just went away. Laterally. Oh, yes, I remember. This meditation does require some semblance of visual work, but the reality is that you're having an experience. And so the visualization is in entering the cave. But what appears to you is what appears to you. It's not you actually visualizing something. It's something appearing to you that you see. Understand that when you put out the call, spirit world works in a very different time scale than we do, right? We're thinking 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, right? We are on a very linear time path, but there are times when we put out a call or an invocation for someone or something to show up, and it just doesn't. That doesn't mean that something has gone wrong. It just means that they're on a different timetable. You have done the powerful work of opening the door and issuing an invitation. Things may show up immediately. And then sometimes it's like tonight when you're dreaming, it shows up, or 5 weeks from now when you're dreaming, it shows up, or you're walking through the park and something lands, right? So understand that it's not that you're not good at this. Hold on, I'm adjusting. It's not that it didn't work or no one's there or no one cares or no one listens. It's that we're all working on a different timeline. And know that just the act of doing the door opening has moved and shifted something. It will come. They will come. So I say that because in the part of the meditation, when you issue the invite, I'll walk you through that. Something may show up, something may not, but pay attention to sensation, pay attention. And when I say that, this might be confusing, but pay attention to sensation, both in your right here body, but also in your astral body. Sometimes those things are very different, but pay attention to both. Pay attention to any movement that you might feel around you in both spaces. Distractions. Sometimes very specific distractions are about something. It's not just that something moved outside, but different thoughts that come in can be themed in a way that might also carry a message. Don't get lost in the distraction, but note it, acknowledge, oh, that particular distraction came through. I don't know what that's about. I'm going to make sure that I remember that, and I'm going to move on and keep breathing and keep kind of tuning into the space. Pay attention, because sometimes, and we've talked about this before, the way the information is transmitted might not be in the language that you expected. It may not be a concrete image of a person. It may come in a song. It may come in a distraction. It may come in a physical sensation. And that's the entryway, right? That's how the communication begins. So don't discount anything, but also allow for silence and allow for nothing. Sometimes nothing happens, and that's okay. So just know that if you, when I prompt you to kind of issue the invite and then be still with it, be still with it. Don't like, oh, no one's coming, I got to force something. Don't force anything. Just be in the space of being open. That intention and that behavior and the energy behind that behavior continues to empower that open door, and something will come through. Now, really quick, I just said that and it reminded me, sometimes people who haven't done this work feel afraid of, like, what if I call something evil, and what if I call something and something evil shows up? That's not the way this is going to work. We're creating a space that is protected. We're creating a space that is very well filtered, and only what you're calling in is what's going to come through, because you're issuing a very specific invitation. Yeah. Okay, I've talked a lot. This is actually going to be a little bit of a longer meditation too, so I don't want to, I don't want to do all that. So let me look here. Oh, there wasn't that many comments. Okay, good. So yes, that book really is amazing, Becky, for sure. I agree with you. And thank you, Emily, for posting the link to the book. Esther, I was divinely guided to this meditation today. I'm so deeply grateful. I'm so glad that you were. Chloe, I have trouble connecting with ancestors, maybe because I don't think they would agree with who I am. There's a lot to unpack in my ancestral line, but I think that work is worth it, if really hard. I'm going to speak to that in a second. Emily says, I'm wondering, Elena, for these three, should we keep it to ancestors that were from the past rather than those beloved dead we knew in life? As I do work closely with some relatives who've passed, but I would like to connect back. Okay, that's a good question too. Okay, let me answer Chloe. So this is interesting, Chloe. When you say maybe because I don't think that they would agree with who I am, the people that you want to connect with aren't attached to those things, at least in this particular exercise or when we do this kind of work. So yes, there are going to be, I mean, God, I can't even think about how many ancestors would not agree with who I am, right? We have people who are still in that human dynamic of judgment, or this is not the way it's supposed to be, or you weren't supposed to go this route, right? Those are ancestors that are still very deeply enmeshed or embroiled in their human history and in the human dynamic of these dysfunctions of somehow I don't agree with you because you're different than me. So those are the things that we try to go back and heal, right? That trap of judgment, that trap of closed-mindedness, that trap of dysfunction that is harmful to people or very oppressive to other people themselves and others in their family. Yeah. So when you ask for those well ancestors to come through who want to be allies with you in this healing work, what you're asking for when you say well ancestor is ancestors that are way up, like beyond the confines and the constructs of our human culture, regardless of whatever ethnic or national culture we have. There's a human culture. There are human dysfunctions. There are human patterns of behavior and belief systems that keep us very small and very oppressed in these boxes that have very little room for the true power and breadth and depth of our souls and what we can do as like souls. Yeah. So when you reach back, know that the intention when you say well ancestor is someone way above and beyond, and above, not necessarily better than below, but way beyond these constructs that keep us judgy and dysfunctional and unhealthy and all the things. Yeah. And so that distinction is important. And then Emily, I was wondering, Elena, yes, I would say yes to this. And Emily's question, just to repeat it, says, for these three that we're going to be calling in, should we keep it to ancestors that were from the past rather than the beloved dead that we knew in life? And I would say yes. You want someone who's been around for a hot minute, a very long, long hot minute, because you want them to be beyond, right? Beyond. They're beyond those relationships now. They're beyond who they were when they were on the planet. They're beyond that. They're beyond in the sense that they have now reincarnated. Different parts of themselves have blended with other ancestors to become other parts of their ancestral line. So these are the elders. You want the elders who have released those enmeshments. They have a lot to teach. They have a lot to give because they are kind of beyond the oppressive constructs of being human. And that's not to say that working with your recent dead isn't worthy work. It is. It can be beautiful work. I have had long-term, 10 years after my father died. For 10 years, we were really in a deeply intimate healing relationship. And that relationship healing was because of our relationship, about our relationship. The ancestors that we're calling in aren't in that space anymore. They're not in the story of whatever relationship they had with any one of us who are still alive. Does that make sense? They've freed themselves. They've liberated from that. Sophia, a beautiful name, Sophia. Sophia's Temple. I thought I had missed a message from my guide, but his message was pay attention, a recurring thing for me. Pay attention. There's so much going on all the time that are messages, really, truly. You're welcome. And hello, Catherine. Okay, I'm going to drink more water because I have been so dehydrated this week. I don't know what is going on. You're welcome, Chloe. So this is what I'm going to say. If you don't have a journal with you, go grab one, because it's important that when I bring you out, even if it's just like 5 words that you just jot down messily, you want to take a second to jot down whatever is salient, whatever came through, whatever is most memorable, because you just want to remember that for later. And what else? The last thing. I'm full of a lot of instruction today. In the meditation, I'm working on how to do this for you technologically, but I don't know how to do it yet. I know that there's a way to do it, so you don't have to tell me how. I will figure it out. But in the meditation, I'm going to have you weave in, you're going to be breathing. There's always attention that we pay to our breath until we don't pay attention to it anymore, but it's something that's running in the background as an anchor. I'm going to add something to that, which is a drum beat, and don't get like super Phil Collins complicated, which no one's probably going to get that reference, but older Gen X person here. Don't make it complicated. It's a drum beat. It's a boom, boom, boom. And if you lose track of that, just trust, hold a space of trust that it's happening in the background, even though you don't necessarily always hear it, as a way to keep your pace. Um, that's all I'm going to say about that. Sometimes when I say things like go back to the breath or remember what your breath and the rhythm of your breath sounds like, you may not remember it because you are engaged in something else. Trust that it's happening behind the scenes and it's keeping its own energetic pace for you. Okay. Um, and I think that's it. That was a lot of intro. That was almost, oh gosh, 25 minutes of intro. Okay, well, this is big work, so it is what it is. I'm going to switch my screen around so that I can see my notes. You got the Phil. Oh, Billy. Hi, Billy. Of course you did, right? We are kind of similar ages. But you know, Phil Collins was an amazing drummer. If you don't know who that is, please look him up. I know that you probably heard one of his most famous songs. Yeah, we don't want a massively complicated drum beat. We just want a boom, boom, boom. Just something to keep pace. That's all we're doing, like a heartbeat. Yeah. Um, oh, I love it. Oh, I could talk about that forever. Okay, I'm not gonna distract us. Get comfortable in your seat. Get comfortable and adjust yourself as you need to. If you have your candles, you can go ahead and light a candle now to mark the transition from our chatter to our meditative seat and space. And then just start by closing your eyes and turning into the natural flow of your breath. Now slowly begin to breathe with intention. Paying attention to the way your breath sounds coming in and out of your body. You want to start lengthening your in-breath and deepening how far that air flows into you. Savor as much of that air as you can by letting it go slowly, so that you're lengthening the in-breath but also stretching out that exhale. So you want to breathe in deep and slow and long, and exhale slow and long as well. And take a moment to really check in with your body to see how, if any way, this change in your breathing has shifted the way you feel in your body. And then just keep that breathing going, letting it be steady and creating a slow and grounded pace within you. Note that every time you exhale, there's just even a little bit of release of tension. and distraction. The out breath is like releasing that pressure from a steam cooker or a pressure cooker. Just a little bit of release at each exhale. Your body opening a little bit more, relaxing a little bit more. Same with distractions as they come through, and they will. That's totally common and normal. You acknowledge them, and on the exhale, you just let them slide right out. As you sit there breathing with intention, in the distance, as you sit there, your eyes are closed and all you see is darkness, but you begin to hear a very slow and low drum beat. It's consistent and warm and magnetic, like it's beckoning you. And as you hear the sounds of that drum beat, you feel yourself being pulled inward. Let your breath begin to fall back into your awareness, like a far off anchor that you've cast while wandering away from it and from the space that you're sitting in right now. You're letting that drum beat carry you like a sacred container into a deep place. Slowly withdraw more and more into the vast space within you, as if you're being pulled through a deep, dark portal. And there is a gentleness to this. It's not a feeling of loss of control, but rather a deep soul response to a sacred pull. Deeper into this comforting and dark space, you retreat until you begin to note a dim, dusky light starting to surround you while the drum beat continues in the background. You begin to notice the sounds of a distant beach waves begin to come into your awareness, and that sound becomes its own magnetic pull as well, as if it's creating a song with the drum beat. The waves kind of casually rolling up on the sand and rolling back out while the drum continues. And they're both luring you deeper and deeper until you feel your bare feet firmly planted on wet, soft sand. You are on a beach. It's a small one. You notice as you look around that it's a very well protected cove surrounded by incredibly tall, rocky cliffs, in the shape of a U. There is no way to get to this beach unless one would propel down from the top of the cliffs. The U shape of the rocks completely closes off this beach into its own protected space. Take a moment to look around. Look at the water lapping at your feet. See the velvety fog that hangs all around you. And though you can't see the sun or the moon, it's dusky, where the light is soft and low and coats everything in a soft gray. Take a moment to breathe in the moist, cool, salty air. Weave this air into your deep, slow breathing, and let this be a ritual cleansing for you as the salt enters your body and neutralizes any emotional or energetic charge that you might be holding or carrying right now. Take some time here to cleanse yourself this way as a ritual of consecration. All you need is your breath and the salt air. When you are done, look ahead towards the cliff wall ahead of you, the one that closes off the beach on one side. Notice that there seems to be 2 torches on either side of what might be an entrance to a cave. Let your feet begin to carry you to this place. Once you arrive, feel the cool, damp air from within caress your face. Your feet can feel that you are standing on rock now, and you step inside. The opening leads to what looks like a long pathway. There are dim torches along the pathway, and inside you go, walking slowly, hearing the occasional drop of water hit the wet, smooth stone surface you are walking on. Deeper and deeper you go until you find yourself in a large cave. There are candles lit all around the perimeter of the cave, and a lush sheepskin rug covers the center of the space. It feels familiar and safe. There is a sacred hum to the space, and the drumming continues, but it's faint and in the background, almost like the heartbeat of the cave. Take yourself to the center of this place and sit down in an open, meditative posture. Now, close your traveling eyes, trusting that this cave and the space and everything in it is yours. This is a sacred temple. Nothing will enter here that you have not specifically chosen. You are protected by the elements and by the intention and by the spirit of the space. You are here for a purpose. And now, while sitting here with your eyes closed, sitting on soft, warm sheepskin, and surrounded by the warm glow of candles, you bring your focus on what you intend. Very specifically, you are here to invite or call forth 3 of your well ancestors. You are calling in what is essentially a committee of 3 to guide you and teach you the journey of your unique ancestral work. These are to be your allies in the healing. They are to be your allies in the teaching of venerating your ancestral line and honoring your ancestral line and learning from your ancestral line. Allow for space while you breathe and continue to open to the intention and the invitation. Know that the invitation is enough. A door has been opened. Allow for the drumbeat and your breath to continue to unfurl you while you sit there open to receive. Each drumbeat opens you more and more, and it creates the same magnetic pull that you felt. It creates that same magnetic pull for your ancestors to show. Let each drumbeat be a growing empowering of that magnetic that you can trust and you can meditate with as you sit there open and waiting. Remember that contact comes in many forms. Be attentive to sensation, to sounds, memories or images that might come up, but not necessarily be obvious. Distractions come up, make note of them, acknowledge them, and then return to your breath and the environment that you're in. The cave, the sounds, the sheepskin, the distant sound of the crashing waves outside, and that drumbeat. Sometimes it takes days for them to appear. Sometimes only one will appear. Sometimes all 3 or just 2. But when you feel that first presence, greet them, honor them, and bow to them. And do so for each ancestor that shows up. Trust the formless and the form. Sometimes there is no form to who shows up. Feel your way through and feel the presence, however it shows up for you. If you have been joined by others, take some time to come into energetic alignment with each other. It's an energetic greeting of sorts, where you feel your way through, following your innermost impulse to match the energy with which they have appeared to you. And when you're ready, whether they have appeared or not, ask what this relationship with the three of them can mean for you and for them and for your entire ancestral line. Ask what this relationship with the three of them can mean for you and for them and for your entire ancestral line. Trust the message. Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a long speech. It can be many forms. Now ask how you are all to proceed in your ongoing relationship of learning and growth and healing. Ask how you are all to proceed in your ongoing relationship of learning and growth and healing. This can be how you reach them. What sorts of rituals do you do in order to work with them? It can mean how often and regularly should you meet and sit with one another. It can also look like what kind of altar you need to set up for them. There are no limits here. How are you all to proceed in your ongoing relationship of learning and growth and healing? Remember that you are free to ask questions. This is a conversation, not a lecture. So if you need clarity on something, you can ask. As the conversation begins to wane, decide on a time together when you will be back to continue the conversation and begin the work. And when that is complete, thank them for their time and their presence, signaling that it's time to end. And as they begin to leave, start bringing your attention back to your breath and the drumbeat that begins to grow a little bit louder. As you do this, you feel deeply within the ancestral withdrawal. They're with you always, but their presence in this temple for now is gone. So you rise slowly, bowing to the space that you are in to offer gratitude. This is a living body, this temple. It might be a cave made of stone in the astral realm, but it holds the imprint of your intention and your work. It becomes a living body of its own, with its own mission to hold you in this intention and this sacred work that you do. So bow to it in gratitude for all that it does for you and will do. And then slowly you turn and begin to make your way out of the cave through that long, wet corridor and then out into the beach. Know that even though you feel as if you don't want to leave and it's too soon, that you can come back here as often as you want and need. It's there and it's yours to do with as you need to. Know that you will be back and it is yours, so that it becomes easy to leave for now. And now that you are outside, begin to pay attention to that environment, what that environment feels like. The wetness, the moisture of the air, the gray light, and that drumbeat that keeps growing louder and louder as your feet quicken down the beach until your eyes are opened by the energy of that drumbeat. And as both your eyes, your sets of eyes, your astral eyes and your physical eyes open, you are back here in your seat at your computer with the group. Keep breathing with intention. Sometimes the re-entry can be disorienting. And take some time to journal your experience and jot down some important notes that you can come back to later to really process through what you received. And when you're ready, share with a group if you're called. I'm going to answer a question that came through while the rest of you are still processing your re-entry. The question is, I feel a strong spinning of my entire body counterclockwise. Why? And that's common because we're endeavoring to travel. And oftentimes when we travel, we leave our bodies and go into the astral realm, even though seemingly we're awake and we're in conscious world. And it can feel disorienting. And that disorientation can come in the form of dizziness or spinning, sometimes confusion. Sometimes a lot of anxiety because we're not used to leaving in that intentioned way. So it's common. And one of the ways to help balance that out for yourself is practice. The more you do it, the less you're going to experience that kind of physical disorientation. And then the other way is to really, the breath, there are so many layers to the breath. It can sound so simplistic or cliche, but the breath and returning your focus to the breathing in and out in a very consistent rhythm can help ground you. And this is where the paradox comes in. It grounds you in your body so that then you can travel, right? Um, that helps. The drum beat helps as well. It's one of the reasons why I've woven the drum beat into this. Usually we just work with the breath, but the drum beat is a very earth element, heart focused sound. And so you now have two tools to keep you oriented while you travel. So those two things work really well as well. And the best recommendation at this point is really that it's practice. The disorientation will happen, but over time with the practice, you will become used to. There's a lot of energy that you're actually expending when you do this kind of work. And so the more you do it, the better you become at it. The other thing is that when you do this kind of work and you do this kind of journeying, um, you might feel these effects long after you're done. You might feel a little loopy. You might feel really hungry. You might feel really exhausted. Eating protein after something like this helps tremendously as well. It gets you back into the bones of your body. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you got tofu, that helps a lot. Nuts and seeds can be very helpful as well. For those of you who are meat eaters, I have tucked away in various places. I always have a little baggie of really high quality. You want to go to Whole Foods or Sprouts, spring the cash for the good meat, the organic meat, but I have really good high quality like beef jerky like tucked away, because if I just need a little bit of a help to get back in, a little nibble on that will help as well. And then also, not everyone really jives with stones this way, but having a particular stone or a crystal with you in your hand or in your on your clothes or on your person for the rest of the day after you've experienced this can also help with the grounding as well. Okay, let me drink some water and see what questions came through. Sophia's Temple says, thank you, Lena. I recently lost my mother, and so this was fantastic timing. I named my teaching group after my grandmother, Sophia. Beautiful. I look forward to more from your meditations. Sky. Sky's your name. Beautiful. Good to meet you, Sky, and I'm sorry for your loss. It's a big one. Chloe says, sometimes it's easier to go through your place of power first and to find a path from there. Yes, it makes coming back a lot easier as well. I recommend Phoenix LaFay's What is Remembered Lives for that. Yes, that's an amazing book. Great recommendation. Emerin says, hello, everyone. It's been an eventful morning and I came in the middle. That's okay. I can rewind and replay. Yes, this will be here. So you can come back to this as often as you need to. And then two, we timestamp this, although let me think really quickly. I think that when Emily goes through and timestamps it, the meditation will be its own long little segment of the video. But you can, if you need the support and the help to get there, you can take this meditation all the way through until I ask that question of like, how are we going to work together? Like once you've established that, you can use that very beginning part of that meditation on repeat for yourself and then drop in your own questions. Or you can just show up to the cave and sit after you've created a kind of interaction culture with your ancestors, because it'll be different for all of us. Sometimes people sit around and drink tea together and they have a conversation. Sometimes it's literally you sit at the feet of an ancestor and they just pour information into you. So it can be very different. You're going to discover that your particular relationship is going to be uniquely your own with them. Sometimes it's just a matter of showing up to the cave, inviting them to join you, and then together you co-create what that interaction is going to look like. Together you might co-create in the moment the kinds of rituals that you might do together without knowing ahead of time what you're going to do. The other really powerful thing about working with temples like this in the astral realm is that you might need magical tools to do what you're doing in the astral realm, but they just appear. You create them out of your imagination, and over time, the more you use them, the more salient their energetic signature becomes. So those things are there always waiting for you in your temple. There is so much that can be done with this kind of work. So know that co-creating things in real time together is very much a part of the relationship, and it's very much what you're going to encounter when you go there. You don't always have to know what's going to happen when you get there. In fact, you might have a preconceived list of like, I want to work on this, I want to talk about this, I want to learn about this, and then you get there and it's like, we have something else going on in mind, so let's talk about that instead, right? So it's very much a relationship, right? Where you can't necessarily always predict how it's going to go or what you're going to end up talking about or learning about or healing in the moment. Let me continue reading. Chloe says, anchoring back into the physical is probably my favorite part. It's an intense feeling that makes you realize how much you worked your mind muscles. Yes, absolutely. Kay says, me too, Emerence. Yes. Emerence continues and says, in part of the eventful day was an abundance manifestation element. Found out we're getting a very small amount of money we never expected to receive. Woohoo, that's wonderful. Congratulations. Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. So that was the one for today. It's exciting work, and I try to be mindful because we do these live, and so I've got my water bottle, and then every time I put it on the desk, I feel like you can hear like the little like thud on the desk. Um, but I also there was a little bit of an extra noise today because I just got. Sometimes I'm in the process with you, even though I'm leading you through it. I might be having a process kind of behind the scenes along with you in the meditation. But this time, instead of it being that way, or maybe I was having that process too, but I just got a complete, I think that it would be really, I got like a hit, I guess, that it would be really a worthy endeavor for us to maybe, or me from at some point to lead a class on what the setting up of these astral temples can be and how they can function for all of us, because I think that there's so much that you can do there. And anyway, so if you heard paper rustling, that's what it was. It was like, oh, I have to write this down because if I don't, I'm going to forget later and then spin off into 5,000 other things. So I apologize for the extra noise if you heard it. Although that can be used as a tool as well to always, if you get distracted by a sound, come back to the breath and come back to the drum beat. So like that. All right, my loves, that was a juicy one. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the questions and sharing. I really always appreciate it. Take some time for yourself after this. Do some journaling, like do some processing, because again, even if no one showed up, you opened a door, and if you take some quiet time, you're going to find that kind of retracing your steps, things shifted, things were happening around you, and writing what that was down can be really important because then later that adds to your awareness. Let me see. I'm glad that that was lovely and helpful. This is a very interesting subject. This is from Emerence. It's super hard because there's so many to choose from. There are so many to choose from. And here's the thing. It's really easy to feel a lot of FOMO around, oh, I want to do this practice. Oh, I want to do that practice. At least when it comes to this particular practice of guided meditation, we've got a whole repository of videos here. You don't have to do them all. Really, you can, this is something that you can definitely do some oracle reading around, where if you have a pendulum and a pendulum board, or you can just make your own little pendulum and make your own little yes, no board. Do some divination around which is the one that you really need to be focusing on now, and just dive into the one thing. It's easy to be in the FOMO. It really, really is, especially in a world where witchcraft is very popular now. We're all talking about witchcraft. There are like countless amazing books being, put out into the world. And so I mean, listen, I suffer from the FOMO and the greed as well. I want to learn all of it. I want to do all of it. And so there is a level of spiritual maturity required in all of us to make choices, right? Where this is where I'm going to focus for now, and this is where I'm going to focus like later. So yes, I totally get it, but you can come back to this later. It's not going to go away. Emran says, Elena, you are doing us so much. The minor distractions are not as much as you think. I mean, I thank you. I appreciate because I was like, I was trying so slowly to like pull the paper out from underneath a box of oracle cards, like super slow, and then all of a sudden it was like, psh, like I could hear the paper. I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? Um, Emryn's got your box yesterday, wonderful. Um, Yes, the Oracle deck. The Oracle deck, the Oracle deck. Yes. Okay. Well, wish me luck because this weekend I'm going to try to do one of those time-lapse videos. Don't get excited because I may not even be able to make it happen or share it with you, but I'm going to work on the rest of my homemade Oracle cards and so that I can show you what that process looks like to add to the deep dive video that I sent out on the forum, I don't know, a few days ago, right? So those of you who got the box for February, that deep dive video is already there on the forum with the links. You can go catch that now. And then we're going to do our live Q&A here on YouTube on the 23rd, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is next Wednesday. No, it's 2 Wednesdays from now, I think. Yeah, 2 Wednesdays from now. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a little time-lapse video of me creating a few because it's a language that I really love. So I can, like the 3 that I did, I whipped out in a couple of minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. Excuse me, I have been burpy all week. Anything else I need to tell you before we go? Catherine says, thank you, Lena. I'm looking forward to repeating this again very soon. Wonderful. And then please comment here. I'd love to hear about your process with your ancestors. Emerald says, I'm just referring to doing the learning. I'm not experiencing my FOMO. I'm going through doing what works each day, and I'm learning to just be gentle with me and not feel bad about anything. I love that. That's a beautiful reminder. Thank you, Emerald. Chloe says, oh, I'd love to see your process with those. I didn't get my box yet. Hopefully next week. Oh, good, good. Yeah, hopefully you will. Those are all gone. I mean, not all gone, but all out and mailed in the world. I think as of Tuesday. I think last Tuesday I told you that they would be mailed up by Wednesday. By Tuesday we were done, which was a testament to how amazing the workshop crew is. They were able to get it all out on Tuesday. We are now working on our March box. So another announcement really quickly, if you are not subscribed and you want to be in for the March box, you need to subscribe to the box by the 15th of February, which is next Tuesday. The same thing goes for the books. The books are going to be pretty amazing too. The books that we're sending out for March one of them is a book that I was honored to be asked to do a blurb about. So my name is in the book. I'm very excited about it. Also an author that I love. So all of that to say is that if you are not subscribed and you want to be subscribed to either one of those services, do so by the 15th because that's the cutoff date. If you subscribe after the 15th, your first box won't arrive until April, right? So there's that. Yeah, the post takes forever. It's just, we just roll. Anything else I need to tell you? 3 o'clock today, Pacific time, the registration page for our first ever retreat will go live. I will send out an email about that to everyone. Subscribe to the newsletter. Next week, we'll post that all over social media. I am so excited about this. I can't even stand it. And I reserved the space, and the dates for this retreat is May 19th through the 24th. 4 days and 4 nights, which is kind of amazing. And I had to push it to May only to give everyone time to kind of get themselves together to be able to participate in the retreat if that's what they needed. We have 11 spaces, so it's not like everyone can sadly join us. But honestly, I wish that it was like happening in a couple of weeks. Having to wait till May is a little bit like, talk about FOMO. Like, it's not even FOMO. What is it? Like, I have no patience. The anticipation is killing me because as each day passes, just more and more of the vision of what will be this home is just, it's growing. So I'm so excited about it. Yes, our packing team is so amazing. I think that's it. Thank you all for participating and for showing up on your Friday. Thank you all of those who are doing this on the replay. I really love and feel honored that I'm able to somehow support your practice. And that's it. I will see you next week. Next Tuesday, we're doing another live gathering. What else is happening next week? Valentine's. If you celebrate Valentine's, it's on Monday. If you are not paired with someone, still do something for yourself, because even though it's like it's really a what is it called? It's a capitalist holiday. It's not even like any real sacred thing, but an opportunity to celebrate love is still an opportunity to celebrate love, even if you're not in a couple or a throuple or whatever it is that you do. Celebrate yourself and celebrate what loving yourself looks like. And anything else going on next week? No. We have our live on Tuesday, we have our live on Friday, and we have this amazing retreat that's like open for people. So I can't wait to see who shows up. I am already excited about the group that will form around this event. And so hopefully we'll have some idea of who those people are by next week. Emirates says, I'm excited about it, more than likely won't be able to go, so there's FOMO for that, but it's okay when it's in there for me to be able to. It's going to show up. Absolutely. And it's not the only one. There'll be more. I'm already like brainstorming when I can fit the others in my calendar. Um, and oh, that's right. Chinese New Year is the 18th, and it's the year of the tiger. There's a lot there. I don't follow the Chinese calendar or astrology very closely, but I hear that this is a big, big, big year, which is exciting. All right, my lovelies. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Um, we'll see each other all over the places. We'll take care. Bye.